My name is Anthony.
Hi, my name is Maya.
And we're going to be presenting rhetorical devices. The first thing that I'm going to be talking about is the metaphor. A metaphor is when you compare two things without using like or as. The best way to identify it in a text is to see when two things are being compared. The snow was a blanket covering the land. Life is a roller coaster. The teacher was a dragon. These are all different examples of what metaphors are. Just one way that you would use this in writing is when you're comparing two things, like a person's face and a stop sign. One way to use this in writing is when you're comparing two things, and an example of this would be if someone's really embarrassed, you would say her face was a stop sign, or her face was a brick because of the color of the stop sign, or something like that. Using a metaphor in your writing can strengthen your argument because it shows that you have a deeper depth in your thinking, and it shows that you are able to articulate yourself without using simple rhetorical devices.
The rhetorical device I'm presenting on is oxymoron, a figure of speech that combines two apparently contradicting elements, such as jumbo shrimp. You can identify them in a text by finding something that contradicts itself. You can use them in poetry, such as don't go. Personally, I wouldn't use them because I don't believe it strengthens your argument in a text. It doesn't strengthen your argument because you're contradicting yourself.
The next rhetorical device that I'm going to be discussing is alliteration. And alliteration is usually in writing when there's a sentence that has a lot of repetition of the first consonant of the sound. Usually it would be, she sells seashells by the seashore. Now, as you can see, the consonants are being repeated in every word. In she sells seashells by the seashore, the repeated consonant would be the S sound. In she, in sells, seashells, and then not by, but then seashore. Now, of course, when you want to use this in writing, the only tip that I can give to you is to make sure that all of the words in your sentence, and if not all, then most of the words, have the same repeating consonant sound at the beginning. Because of course that's what an alliteration is, and if you don't do that, then you wouldn't be writing an alliteration. Alliteration is another example of a writing device that can be used in any form of writing that you choose. Usually it would be in more of creative writing or poetry because it does have a poetic rhyme to it that would sound off if you were trying to speak to a more professional or more serious audience. Using alliteration or any other rhetorical device really strengthens your argument because it shows that you have a knowledge of what these devices are and you're able to use them and not just have basic sentences.
The rhetorical device I'm presenting is simile. A simile is a figure of speech that compares two things that are alike in some way. To help you identify a simile versus a metaphor, know that the words like or as are typically used in a simile. Well-known similes are cute as a kitten or cute as a button. Comparing the way someone looks to the way a kitten looks. You can use them in any types of writing. This would strengthen your argument by comparing two things without sounding too hard.
The next rhetorical device that I want to speak about is the hyperbole. And the hyperbole is any over-exaggeration of a word or a phrase. An example of this, or a way to identify it in a text, would be when a character or a person says, I could literally eat a whole cow, or this test is so hard that I could die, or perhaps this dress is so tight that I will stop breathing. Now, the reason that these are hyperboles are because they are over-exaggerations, because it's not possible to eat a whole cow, and the test cannot be so hard that you would die. No dress could be so tight that it would strip you of air, although some do come pretty close. One way that you can use hyperbole in writing is when you're trying to prove a point, and usually an exaggeration will help further drive that point and show how adamant you are about something. And it can really be used in any writing situation, whether it be you're describing an event or an item to someone, or you're writing a report on a place or a review. And the use of hyperbole in writing can really affect how people perceive the place that you would be writing a review on, or it would change the reader's point of view. The use of a hyperbole can strengthen your argument because usually when it is being used, it is because the person who is writing or the person who is speaking is adamant about something. Usually the over-exaggeration is, I hate this class so much that I want to die. and they're trying to prove a point of how much they don't like being in class or in any other situation that it's used in. And those are all the rhetorical devices that we had to present.
Thanks so much for watching.